Hey friend, I'm really glad you're here, because there's something we need to talk about, something that's been quietly building inside you. You've been playing small for so long, shrinking yourself just to survive. You did what you had to do. You got used to fitting into spaces that were never made for you. And for a while, it worked, kind of. It felt safe, familiar, comfortable, even. But lately, that safety doesn't feel so safe anymore. That comfort is starting to itch, and it's not because something's wrong with you. It's because something's right. You're growing. Spiritually, energetically, emotionally. There's a fire rising in your chest, and the space you used to exist in. It's too quiet. Too small. Too slow for who you're becoming. You can feel it, and so can the people around you. The ones who built their comfort around your containment. The ones who depended on you staying small. This message is for those of you who've been growing in silence. Doing the inner work no one saw. And now, the seams are tearing. You're expanding too much to be hidden. You're not breaking down, you're breaking out, and no, it's not your ego. It's your frequency. You're vibrating too high to stay in spaces where you used to hide. You can't unknow what you now know. You can't pretend to be okay in environments your soul has already left. It didn't happen overnight. It started with tiny discomforts, moments you brushed off. A little restlessness here. A hesitation there. That soft inner whisper telling you, you're not supposed to be here anymore. At first, you ignored it. Maybe you thought you were being too sensitive. Overreacting. Dramatic, even. But now, it's not subtle anymore. The walls are closing in. The old conversations don't land. The rooms don't feel safe. Even the laughter feels thinner. It's not because you're broken. It's because you're evolving. There's a moment in every journey where healing turns into expansion. And when that moment comes, everything you once tolerated suddenly feels like chains. That's not madness. That's transformation. You're not crazy. You're not ungrateful. You're just becoming more of who you really are. And here's something most people don't tell you. People can sense that shift. Before you say a single word, they feel your presence fading, even when you're still in the room. Why? Because energy leaves first. Spirit always moves before your feet do, the ones who once depended on your softness. They're starting to notice your boundaries. The ones who loved you when you were easy, quiet, convenient. They're starting to squirm. Because you've outgrown what they expected of you. You've become too expensive for their comfort zones. And here's the thing, you don't need to say anything. You don't need to explain. Your silence says more now. Your posture has changed. You're not looking for validation anymore. You're not chasing. You're not justifying that. You're simply becoming undeniable. And the world around you, it's adjusting. Some people will celebrate you, some will fall away, some will try to pull you back into the roles they're comfortable with, the ones you've outgrown, but don't be fooled by that emotional pull. Don't get pulled back into old dynamics just because they're familiar. When God begins to stretch your spirit, everything that tries to confine you starts to feel like suffocation. Even if it once looked like love. Even if it once felt like home, because here's the truth, love, real love, doesn't ask you to stay small. True alignment never asks you to dim your light. So if you've been feeling off lately, if the things that used to fill you now feel hollow, if you feel the urge to run, but don't know where to go, that's not failure, that's a spiritual growth spurt. And growth spurts, they're messy. They're uncomfortable. They're inconvenient, but you're not falling apart. You're being resized. Everything you're walking away from served a version of you, a version that no longer exists, and the people around you, they feel it, not because you said anything, but because your energy isn't shrinking to fit their needs anymore. And friend, that's not selfish, that's sacred. You're not just leaving a situation, you're leaving a version of yourself that made survival look like success. For so long, you were praised for how well you endured, for how quiet you kept your needs, for how gracefully you tolerated being overlooked, but your soul never signed a lifelong contract with that version of you. That was a temporary version, a sacred holding space, not your final form. You didn't betray anyone by shifting, you simply stopped betraying yourself, and now everything that was built around your containment, it's starting to shake, not because you're shaking it on purpose, but because truth always rearranges the room. People might say, you've changed. You used to be so easy to be around. You're distant now. Selfish. Cold. But they don't realize, you were never easy. You were just quiet, you were doing the math in your head, asking, is it worth it to stay small, just to make them comfortable? And now, finally, you know the answer. You've given so much grace to people who only loved the version of you that didn't challenge them. The version that stayed quiet, that didn't ask for more, that made them feel safe in their stagnation. But now, as you rise, your presence has become a mirror, and mirrors, they don't just reflect you, they reflect what others are refusing to become. Don't shrink yourself just because your light makes someone else uncomfortable. Don't return to old rooms simply because you remember where the furniture was. You're not meant to be familiar anymore, you're meant to be free. That uncomfortable feeling you've had lately, it's not a mistake, it's not a sign you've lost your way, it's confirmation. Your old environment can no longer host the size of your destiny, even your body knows it. You feel drained after conversations that once energized you. You walk into old places and your chest tightens. You wake up in a life that used to feel safe. And now it just feels off. Why? Because you're living in the shadow of a story that's already ended. You just haven't closed the book yet. So, here it is, your permission. Close the chapter. Let the memories be sacred. Let them be holy, but stop forcing yourself to stay in a narrative just because you've invested time in it. Your calling has moved, your spirit has already crossed over into the next place. That's why the air feels thin, that's why nothing flows the way it used to, that's why even when you're surrounded, you feel unseen. It's not you falling apart, it's God disrupting the illusion of comfort, because comfort and alignment, they're not always the same thing. Sometimes, what feels safe is actually holding you back. Sometimes, the thing that once protected you becomes the very thing that limits you. And here's the part they won't expect. You won't make a big announcement. You won't cause a scene. You won't beg anyone to understand. You'll simply stop dimming, and that alone. That will be loud enough. Some people only felt powerful around you because they kept you uncertain. They weren't in control. You just hadn't realized your power yet. But now, you know, and they feel it. They hear it in your silence. They see it in the way you don't over-explain anymore. They sense it in the way you protect your peace without guilt. You're not just outgrowing people, you're outgrowing entire dynamics, patterns. Unspoken agreements, roles you never actually agreed to, but played anyway. But now you're waking up, you're realizing, this was always the plan. You were never meant to stay where you started, you weren't made to be tolerated, you weren't born to blend in, you were born to take up space, in truth, in love, in light, and in purpose. You're stepping into that now, whether the people around you are ready or not. Yes, it might feel lonely at first. Yes, it might feel like you're walking through a hallway without any doors. But don't panic in the pause. That silence you feel, that strange in-between space, that's not absence. That's alignment making room for something new. It's God preparing the next room. You didn't miss your chance. You're not late. You're not behind. You're just too aligned now to stay in misalignment. And the people who are meant to meet you in that next space, they won't question your glow, they'll recognize it, because they carry it too. So walk forward, not to prove anything, not to spite anyone, but because you're finally becoming everything you were never allowed to be before. Let them feel it, let the rooms shift, let the walls tremble. You're not leaving to hurt anyone, you're leaving to honor the size of your spirit, and that, my friend, is the holiest kind of growth. There's no need for apologies, no need for guilt. This isn't rebellion, it's realignment. And it's not personal, it's energetic, because once your energy expands, it can't contract again without causing pain. This is what spiritual evolution feels like. It's messy, it's loud in your chest but quiet on the outside. It's grieving a version of yourself that did nothing wrong. She just can't go with you. You're not walking away because you're bitter. You're walking away because you're better, more aware, more whole, more in tune with the truth of who you really are. You've spent so long being the one who adjusts, the one who bends, the one who softens so others can stay hard, but now, you've Stopped bending, and the people who only loved you bent, they won't know what to do with the you who stands tall. Let them adjust. You are not here to make everyone else comfortable. You are here to live in full alignment with your purpose. You are here to be all of you, and full you isn't always easy to digest, but that's not your problem anymore. You've outgrown explaining your piece. You've outgrown apologizing for your glow. You've outgrown the need to be understood by people who never tried to understand you in the first place. And when the doubt creeps in, because it will, when the loneliness whispers, go back, pause, breathe, and remember this: you're not walking away from love, you're walking toward it. Because real love doesn't ask you to shrink, it doesn't clip your wings just to keep you close, it doesn't fear your fullness, it celebrates it. This is what becoming looks like: uncomfortable, unpredictable, undeniably real. You're not crazy, you're not too much, you're not broken. You're just finally refusing to betray yourself.